Hey, this is 77. Today I want to talk about a thing I made. Yes, I made a thing. To be specific, I made a mod for Burnout Paradise Remastered. But unlike all the cool mods and fixes that people have made for other games, like the kind you'd see if you'd watched any of my Need for Speed installation tutorials, I made a mod that literally nobody asked for. Not only that, but this is also a mod that some might see and go, why? Because I made a mod that brings back all the old product placement that was present in the original PC version of Burnout Paradise. That's right, all hail capitalism, and no, today is not April 1st. This means all the old billboards are back, so get ready to speak visual and make sure to catch the latest episode of Crash TV on iTunes. Not only that, but all these billboards have been upscaled to match the quality of the replacement billboards that were present in the vanilla version of BPR. But also make sure to have razor sharp reflexes, because the infamous Gillette van and Diesel van have also returned to Paradise City. But anyway, I guess I need to address the Krieger Pioneer sized elephant in the room. Why did I make this? Well, when I first played Burnout Paradise Remastered in August of 2018, I was really excited to get back into the game and visit Paradise City once again. But after driving around for a few minutes, I felt like something was wrong here. Paradise City didn't feel the same to me anymore, and I struggled to realize what exactly had changed at first. But it was when I looked up that I realized what was wrong. What the hell is screw-fast construction? Yeah, the old product placement was gone. Now, you're probably asking yourself, isn't that a good thing? Well, in my opinion, there are two kinds of product placement. The good kind and the bad kind. Let's go over the bad kind first. This is the kind of product placement that breaks your immersion in a game and immediately takes you out of the experience. A good recent example of this was the presence of Monster energy drinks in Death Stranding. While it could potentially be written off as a funny gag, it doesn't make any sense for the game to be promoting Monster Energy. This was a game set in a fractured open world after a cataclysmic event. The presence of Monster energy drinks in this game, in my opinion, was of very poor taste given the game's subject matter. Like, isn't it weird that in this game, society has completely broken down, yet Monster Energy is still going strong? It's very questionable, all things considered. And it's the kind of product placement that gives all product placement a bad name. Which brings me nicely to the good kind of product placement. Yes, there is a good kind, at least in my opinion. This is the kind of product placement that enhances your immersion to the game, and helps trick your brain into believing that the game's setting is real. A fantastic example of this can be seen in Need for Speed Underground. Early on in the game, you'll be doing a race, and attached to a building you see this, a McDonald's ad. When I first saw this McDonald's ad in the game, it did not ruin my immersion of the game at all. Instead, it made the game's setting of Olympic City feel real to me. Suddenly, this concrete jungle covered in neon lights now felt like a real city that could very well exist somewhere in the world. In fact, a fair few Need for Speed games have done a fairly good job including product placement that doesn't ruin the experience. For example, driving past the Burger King in Underground 2 helped sell me on the idea of this game taking place in a real American city. And since we don't have Burger King here in Australia, I felt like a tourist arriving here for the first time. Kinda like the main protagonist of Underground 2, even though he came in on a domestic flight. Seeing all the automotive brand billboards and posters in Pro Street helped immerse me in the whole car festival, race weekend setting that game had. Anyway, I need to move on as there are so many more examples that I could probably make an entire video dedicated to the product placement in those games. The updated Paradise City in Burnout Paradise Remastered did not feel like Paradise City to me, which is a very weird thing for me to say. But if you went back and played the original game, it felt like a game which took place in the mid to late 2000s. The product placement paired with the soundtrack helped date the city back to this period of time. Once you remove the product placement, it doesn't feel the same anymore. It was like that scene in the third Madagascar movie where they finally got back to the zoo in New York, but they realized how everything had changed since they were last here, all those years ago. Or imagine watching a remastered version of Mad Men, where they somehow managed to replace all the cigarettes with weed. Part of the appeal of Burnout Paradise Remastered to me was being able to, for a limited amount of time, feel like I was back in the late 2000s by playing a game that truly evoked that bygone era. An era where smartphones were a niche, an era where the colour palette of most games consisted of a mix of brown and yellow, an era in which we were confident that we were going to get a new Midnight Club game. But anyway, going back to my original experience with the remaster, I exited the game shortly after seeing the billboards were missing, and I ran a search on the interwebs to see if anyone was making a mod that brought back the old advertising, but at that point there wasn't one, so I decided to wait until that day came. Fast forward to just over a month ago, I decided to write a video on Burnout Paradise Remastered. After doing so, I reinstalled the game and hopped back in to record footage for that video, only to be reminded of the removal of the product placement. After seeing this, I ran another search on the interwebs to see if anyone had finally made a mod that brought it all back, but sadly there wasn't one. Then I decided to run a search to see if anyone else even noticed that the old billboards and banners were gone and wished they would return, but I did not find anything. And so, after seeing all this, I went,
fine, I'll do it myself.
Fast forward to now, the mod is complete and is up right now on Nexus Mods, ready to download. It's very easy to install. There are two folders, one containing the classic billboards at a high resolution, and one containing the same billboards in their original 2008 resolution. I suggest you pick the remastered ones as they do look slightly better. Just drag and drop the Burnout PR folder that is contained within the version of the mod that you'd like into the Origin Games folder which houses your Burnout Paradise Remastered installation. Just merge and overwrite any existing files. Then just start the game up as normal and there you go. I want to give a sincere thank you to YouTube user Dematron304. When I went searching to see how I could possibly even do this, I stumbled upon this video where they showed an example of how you can use a program called Gnosis to gain access to the game's assets and modify them. If this video did not exist, I'd still be looking around to see if this project was even possible. And the vehicle spreadsheet linked in the description of that video was instrumental in helping me find the location of the Gillette and Diesel vans in the game's files. But anyway, it's time for me to end this video. I think I've rambled on enough about product placement for one day. Consider giving the mod a download if you're feeling nostalgic about the original PC version of Burnout Paradise. As a disclaimer though, this mod does not replace any billboards that were unique to Big Surf Island. The reason for this was because that DLC never released on PC, and as a result, I don't have access to those files. If I do in the future, I'm more than happy to update the mod. I also want to clarify that this is a port of the billboards that were in the original PC version of Burnout Paradise. I know there are a few billboards that were exclusive to the 360 and PS3 versions of the game. Those are not in the mod because, well, I don't have access to those files. But if I do one day, I'll be happy to release an alternative edition of the mod that brings those billboards back as well. And finally, unless I say otherwise, I'm currently only hosting this mod on Nexus Mods. If you find a direct download link to this mod from another source, then assume that that is not my mod. Run away while you still can. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see other vaguely racing game related stuff by me, then make sure to click the subscribe button and follow me on Twitch and Twitter. Regardless of that though, I hope you're all staying safe during these times, enjoy the mod, thank you very much for watching, take care.